Have you ever experienced that feeling that often less really is more? In the landscape of influence and power, speechlessness can be one of the most formidable weapons at your disposal. If you've already started with Robert Greene's renowned 48 Laws of Power, chances are you've already come across this concept. In this video, we're going to explore in depth the 5 advantages of adopting silence as a strategy. First, it's worth mentioning that there are times when speech is necessary and even recommended. Verbal abstention can arouse suspicion and is not always communal in all circumstances. However, when used with intention, silence can have a profound impact. Why? Simply because by saying less, you radiate an air of greater power. Influential individuals understand that making an impact and imposing is not necessarily linked to incessant verbiage. In fact, the more someone talks, the more likely they are to sound silly. Picture this. When someone is incessantly bragging about their own abilities, they are likely to be perceived as narcissistic or empty-mouthed. Here comes the example of Louis XIV, the famous French monarch. He had the talent to instill awe in his court with just a few words. In fact, he often just said, "I'll see," followed by an intimidating silence. That silence stood as one of the foundations of his dominance. While you may not be a ruler, you can still use silence to express authority and influence. Second point, silence fosters your ability to interpret individuals. By saying less, your words take on added weight and meaning. You come to be seen as someone unpredictable and enigmatic, which attracts others. Also, by keeping silent, you become an attentive and perceptive listener. This gives you the ability to spot lies and discern people's true intentions, often revealed by their attempts to fill the void of silence. Observing body language while silent can reveal considerable insight into words and intentions. Over time, you become a master at deciphering individuals based on small details. This competence is valuable, as the information received can be used to destabilize someone or to secure an advantage in situations. After all, once the words are spoken, there is no going back. Avoid regrets in silence, working as a tool to help or self-control. Third dimension, silence supports self-control and a strategic response. Imagine yourself being treated unfairly by a superior. The initial instinct is to respond immediately, letting the emotions run wild. But consider this. Will this momentary reaction provide the desired value in the future? Giving in to the ego will only drive you further away from your true aspirations. Refraining from talking, keeping your cool, and responding with courtesy and strategy is a more insightful approach. Expressing emotions can make the situation worse even if you're right. The proper approach requires confronting the situation properly, ensuring a satisfactory resolution. Fourth point, silence enhanced your communicative skills. Now, if you're constantly under a hostile environment, it might be time to consider a change. However, when it comes to being socially comfortable and building relationships, being a good listener is key. People relish the opportunity to engage in dialogue with someone who really listens. A vivid example is the experience of Dale Carnegie, author of the book How to Win Friends and Influence People. On one date, Dale spent most of his time listening to a flower girl who ranted nonstop. At the end of the occasion, she considered him one of the most incited interlocutors with whom she had ever dialogued. Dale's simple attitude of remaining silent and listening resulted in his interlocutor feeling valued and understood. Finally, fifth consideration. Silence amplifies your influence and influence. People want to be heard and understood. When you feel free to talk less and listen more, you become someone charismatic. Furthermore, silence is a powerful tool for making an impact. In things both parties aim for something, uncomfortable pauses are natural at these times. If you are comfortable with silence, you are at a significant advantage. It is intrinsic to human nature to fill in the gaps of silence, which can make the other party anxious and inclined to give in to your demands. Silence conveys the idea that the other party needs you more than you need them. Also, while everyone else is struggling to break the silence, you can use this break to strategically plan your next words. Therefore, it is wise to avoid word overload. Talking too much often results in exposing information that can be used against you. Remember that you are someone who knows how to modulate your words and extract power from silence. And you? Do you consider yourself someone who is tolerant of talking a lot, or do you lean towards silence? Please feel free to share your perspective below. If this content was to your liking, be sure to explore other available materials. Also subscribe to our channel to stay up to date.